What can you do when memories make it hard for your loved ones to move forward? Let's explore this in more detail. The home you grew up in, complete with a spacious yard and a multi-level layout, was likely the perfect setting for childhood memories. But what once made it ideal for a growing family may now present challenges for aging parents. Maintaining a large home can become increasingly difficult, especially with multiple rooms to clean and stairs to manage. If you're starting to feel concerned about your parents' ability to safely and comfortably keep up with their home, you are not alone. Many adult children face the same worries, particularly as time passes, and the risks of accidents or strain grow more real. Encouraging loved ones to consider downsizing while they are still healthy and mobile can be a delicate topic. The process brings not only logistical concerns like deciding what to keep or where to move, but also emotional hurdles. The most challenging aspect of selling is emotionally disconnecting from a home. Emotions can cloud judgment, lead to pricing missteps, or stalling the process altogether. Despite the difficulty, these conversations are both necessary and manageable with care, preparation, and patience. Here are a few thoughtful ways to open the door to the downsizing discussion. 1. Begin with health and safety. Large, multi-story homes often present hazards for older adults, especially if mobility is becoming a concern. Stairs can be anything from a workout to a real obstacle for seniors. Suggesting a single-level home can be a helpful step toward minimizing injury, risk, and promoting well-being. Another factor to consider is proximity to family. Seniors who live far from loved ones may face not only isolation, but also delayed responses in case of healthcare issues or household problems. Family members might not notice things like mold, falls, or other safety concerns when visits are infrequent. Being closer to a support system can make a big difference, both physically and emotionally. 2. Keep the conversation collaborative. Rather than delivering a recommendation outright, invite your parents into a thoughtful discussion. Ask practical questions that highlight key concerns while respecting their autonomy. For example, can the home be adapted with ramps, grab bars, or handrails? Are the bathrooms and hallways accessible with a walker or scooter? Is it still safe and manageable to use the stairs regularly? Would they feel more secure or connected in a smaller, more manageable home? If the answer to these questions is no, that's a good signal it may be time to consider a home that supports aging in place more effectively. This isn't an easy subject, but approaching it with empathy, understanding, and a focus on health and well-being can help turn a tough talk into a productive, even hopeful conversation. 3. Talk about financial goals. Once you've touched on safety and lifestyle concerns, it's time to look at the numbers. Start by reviewing the current costs of maintaining your parents' home, utilities, upkeep, repairs, and compare that to what they might save by moving to a smaller, more manageable property. Drilling down into actual savings, not just ballpark figures, can help loved ones truly grasp the financial impact of staying versus downsizing. Smaller homes typically mean lower energy bills and fewer maintenance headaches. But don't feel like you have to calculate it all on your own. Partner with a financial planner to evaluate both the current expenses and the costs associated with alternative properties. Keep in mind that not every smaller home will cost less. A new neighborhood might bring higher living expenses or HOA fees, even if the mortgage or taxes are lower. It's important to look at the full picture. So here's how to approach the conversation. If you've already worked with a financial advisor, consider inviting them into the discussion. For many parents, hearing objective advice from a professional carries more weight than hearing it from their child. A skilled advisor might also help reframe the savings in a positive light, how it could free up funds for travel, hobbies, or spoiling the grandkids. 4. Acknowledge the emotional side. Letting go of a long-time home is rarely just about money. For many older adults, that house represents decades of memories. A move, especially one tied to aging, can bring up powerful emotions. Think of someone who has spent most of their life in one home. It's not just a house, it's their history. Take a gentle approach and position yourself as a guide through the process. Sorting through a lifetime of belongings can be just as overwhelming. That's why it helps to reframe it as an opportunity for a fresh start. When people are ready to downsize, they often want to declutter. They're excited to move forward with only the things they truly use and value. Here's how to approach the conversation. Start with practical benefits like improved safety. Too much clutter, for example, can pose a fire risk or invite pests. Even old greeting cards or newspapers can turn into a hazard. Once you see the risk, it's easier to part with the excess. You can also make the experience more meaningful. Encourage your parents to preserve memories by taking photos of cherished items or telling the story behind them on video. It's a great way to keep the memory without having to keep the item. And don't forget, decluttering can come with a reward. Replacing worn-out linens or kitchenware can be a fun part of the process. It's surprising how many folks are still using sheets from their wedding shower. Be sure to get expert help. A real estate professional like myself who specializes in working with older adults can be an invaluable resource. They'll understand the emotional weight behind the decision and be equipped to guide your parents to the right home for the next stage of life. In today's market, many baby boomers may be in a strong selling position. In 2021, boomers made up 43% of all sellers, and the average median profit was around $66,000. That kind of equity can open up a lot of options. Having a skilled agent in your corner makes a big difference. The key is making sure your parents feel supported and empowered throughout the process. Be patient. As with any major life transition, downsizing is rarely decided in a single conversation. It's a process, often one that starts quietly around the holidays or after a health scare and revisits itself over time. That is completely normal. The important thing is to keep the doors open. Approach each discussion with empathy, facts, and a willingness to listen. When the time is right, the idea of downsizing may shift from overwhelming to empowering. The right time to plan is before it becomes an emergency. Start talking now about safer, simpler living options for your loved ones. For more information and tips related to helping your parents downsize and finding a suitable living environment for them, be sure to follow us here at Act 2 Realty Team.